Hello and welcome to my channel, and Happy New Year everyone. I hope your year started well. Mine has been good so far, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. On this channel I talk about knitting and crochet. I share my works in progress, my finished objects, my yarn hauls, and I have a few knitting tutorials, and I'll keep adding on to those. So today we're gonna talk about one finished object, and then I have a few works in progress, and one of them I'm almost finished, so I'm very excited. But let's start with what I have finished. So I finally finished my champagne cardigan, and this is what it looks like. And I'm gonna leave a picture of this in order for you to see it better. And then when I block it and I put some buttons, then I'll take more pictures and I'll share those with you. But I finished this, I believe it was 2 days ago, and I am pleased with it. Initially, when I tried it on, I thought it was gonna be very, very oversized, but it's actually not oversized. Well, I expected to grow a little bit once I block it, but I think it will be okay. It will be a good size for me. So this is the champagne cardigan, and the pattern is by Petitknit, and I was quite intrigued by this button band. This is a double knitted button band, and it's the first time that I have knitted a double knitted button band. So it was, I can say it was tedious, but it was worth every minute of it. It looks really nice. It kind of looks like professionally finished, if I do say so myself. So I'm thinking that the next cardigan that I work on, I'm gonna use this method of installing the button band because I think I like it so much. And the cardigan looked okay. It just needs a little bit of, I think blocking will fix some of these uneven stitches. And well, that's what I'm hoping, because on the sleeves, I think because initially I started knitting them in the round. Like the pattern says to knit them in the round, and then when I started knitting them in the round, which I typically don't like, I don't even know why I was doing that, they looked completely off. Like the gauge was completely off, and so I decided to knit them flat and then sew them together. But the gauge still looks a little bit off compared to the other part of the cardigan. But I'm thinking that blocking will even everything out, and that should take care of everything. The other thing I need to find is 4 buttons that will go well with this sweater. And I have a bunch of buttons somewhere, and I'm going to go and look and see what works best with, what goes the best with this cardigan. So that is the finished object that I have today. And I can say, even though I started it last year, I can say that I have one finished object for 2025, and that is good inspiration for me. So that is the first thing that I wanted to share with you. And today I have a mix of knitting and crochet. And then I'm gonna show you my other project. And by the way, I've talked so much about this champagne cardigan, so I'm gonna leave a link to all the information in the description below, and that will link to my project page on Ravelry, and I have a ton of notes if you wanna look at it some more. But also I'll leave details like the yarn that I used, or I'll either leave them in the description, or you can link to those. You can see those when you go onto the project page. So the second thing that I'm working on is, I've been working on a pullover as well, or a sweater. And this is the Tecumseh pullover by Caitlin Hunter. And I've shared a bunch about this as well, because I bought this pattern a long time ago when it came out, and that was, I think, 2018, I believe. Yeah, it was published in 2018, and that is when I bought this pattern. And then I kept postponing casting on, and then last year, I finally decided that I was ready to knit this color work pullover, and I did it. And I am so happy with my progress. I am so happy with the way it's turning out, and I can't wait to finish this so that I can wear it before, at least wear it before it starts getting warm. Right now it's really cold, so I wish I could be able to finish it within the next 1.5 weeks. So, and I think I can if I focus on it quite a bit. And it's mostly because I'm on the sleeves. So look at all the progress that I made. So I am done with the body, and I am done with the color work at the sleeve. It calls for another set of color work like about here, but I'm not gonna add another color work because I kind of didn't follow the measurements to a T, so mine is a little bit smaller. And so I've eliminated that color work that's supposed to be around here on the sleeve. So this is the only color work that I am going to work on. And I actually did this yesterday and I finished it. So my goal was to finish this part here, the color work, and then go and pick up this sleeve and do the same. And that will leave me with just the plain area to work on. And I believe that will go really fast. So that is where I am at. I've already tried this on. It fits me perfectly. And my goal is to wear this pullover this winter. And I think that if I concentrate and focus on it, I can be done within the next 2 weeks, or at least in the next 1.5 weeks, because this I was able to do in the evening when I got home from work. So if I sit down again tonight, then I can finish that part. And then the sleeves, I think I can finish in a few evenings, and then it will just be blocking the pullover. So that is this has been such a joy to work on. And this yarn is the Barocco Vintage, and it is such a nice yarn to work with. It's a combination of wool and acrylic, but you can really feel the wool, so it makes it really soft, especially this off-white color. This is so soft. I'm thinking that I want to make another pullover, like an everyday pullover with this color, because it's so soft and it's squishy. And so and the price point for this yarn is really good, so it has worked really well for me. So that is my first WIP that I am so happy with and hoping to finish within the next few weeks. And then I have some socks that I've been working on. And I don't know what's going on with these socks. I feel like I'm having a love-hate relationship with these socks, because the first time I bought this yarn was, I don't even remember, a long time ago, because the dyer for this yarn closed her shop, and I got this yarn like a long time ago. And when I got it, my goal was to knit some socks with it. And I had it in my stash for a long time, and then I cast on the socks, and then they were a WIP for years. And then I picked them back up and I frogged them and I cast them on again, and I finished one, which is this one. And this is a DK weight yarn, and this is the first time I'm doing a DK weight sock. And so I finished the first sock and I was happy with it. And then I cast on the second one, and I think I wasn't paying very good attention. So when I increased here, I think I was supposed to increase up to 60, I believe, because this is a DK weight. And so, but when I got here and I started counting the stitches for the heel, actually I think I was supposed to increase to 64, but I only increased this one to 60. So when I got up here and I was doing the heel, I discovered that I was off by 2 stitches. And so I was trying to figure out how to add 2 stitches and still keep the sock the same size and whatnot. So I kind of got frustrated, and right now I have lost interest. So I don't know if this is a finish, if I'm going to finish it, or if I'm going to frog it. So I'm just gonna keep it again as a WIP until I think about it. But that's what I'm dealing with these socks. I can say I'm not having much luck with it. So I don't know. Even though I finished one, I don't know what's going on with this one. I just don't know. So that's gonna be a problem to deal with another day. So I'm just gonna have it sitting in my WIP pile. And if I do manage to finish or maybe frog the second one and go back all the way to the increase to the toes and then increase to the number of stitches that I'm supposed to have, then that will be it. But right now I don't know, but I just don't feel like knitting on these socks right now. So that's the first pair of socks. And then I have another pair of socks that I cast on. I'm not having much luck with socks, even though I love knitting socks a lot. So I have this yarn that I bought from Hobby Lobby a long time ago when they were having their annual clearance. So this is Crochet Patron's Crochet socks, and this is the yarn. So it typically retails, I think, for $7.99, but it was on clearance for $2.24. So I bought a bunch of these, and this is the first time I bought this yarn. So I wasn't sure. I think it has, I didn't even think about how it was gonna stripe, but looking at it now, I can tell that these are long stripes. And so I decided to cast a pair of socks because this one that I just showed you was just kind of frustrating for me. And so I cast on the socks, and I feel like they are so dull, like there's no color. Well, they are black, so I kind of want something more vibrant, and this is not doing it. So initially I was going to do the toe, and then I was gonna do some kind of stitch pattern on the, after I'm done the with my increases, but it didn't work that way. So I just decided to continue knitting plain socks. But then I don't know if I'm going to finish this either. And I have a bunch of this yarn, but I have it in different colors. I think I have 4 of these, and then I have other colors in the same yarn. So I want like a colorful, vibrant sock. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to my stash and dig through and see if I can find something that is really vibrant, because it's already cold over here, so I need some color. And for some reason, this is not making me as happy. And I mean, I want to enjoy, one of the reasons that I love to knit and crochet is because of the joy that I derive from it. And if a project is not bringing me much joy, then it's not worth my effort. And so this might be another one that might bite the dust, but I don't know yet. I'll let you know in my next episode. So that is all the knitting I have. Some of it good, some of it not so good. And so this year I'm going to be doing a lot of starch busting projects. And I looked through my yarn starch, and I was so surprised at how much yarn I've collected over the years. But again, it's not a surprise, because if you're a knitter or if you crochet like me, then you can't resist a good sale. And so what that tends to do to your starch is that you buy some yarn with this great idea of what you're going to do with it, but you cannot use up your yarn as fast as you can buy it. And so most of the people that knit and crochet find themselves with a big yarn stash. And my yarn stash has grown over the years. And I looked through it and I decided that this is the year that I'm going to use up most of what I have. And most of what I have is going to be turned into crochet blankets, because I feel like even though I love to knit and I knit more than I crochet, when it comes to blankets, I find myself crocheting faster than I knit. And so I decided that I'm going to make a bunch of blankets, and I'm going to try, once the year progresses a little bit, I'm going to try some of the stitches that I've been wanting to try and I haven't had a chance to learn. And so I'm either going to make blankets that are just from my stash and they're not like scrappy blankets, and then I'm going to make some blankets from my scraps. And so I decided to start a blanket today, and this is what I have. And I'm using the granny stitch to make a rectangle granny stitch blanket. I don't know if that's what it's called, but I wanted it to be that. I didn't want it to be like a big granny square. I wanted it to be rectangle. So I went on YouTube and I looked through a bunch of video tutorials, and I must have looked at about 4 or 5 tutorials, but most of the tutorials that I was coming across were using different colors on every row. And so what was happening was, once they get to the end of the row, they would cut the yarn and insert a new yarn. And that was throwing off the rhythm, or the way the stitch was going, in terms of, if you're using a scrappy yarn, you just join it in the corner, versus if you're not using a scrappy yarn, someone needs to show you how to join the row. Like once you complete your round, you need to be able to continue to finish that round and start on the next row. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly, but that is what my brain was like telling me. Like once you get to the end of the row, in order to go to the next row, what do? And most of them were not showing that, because they were cutting the yarn and inserting a new color. But I found this tutorial by Creative Gradma, and she was using, I think her name is Creative Gradma. Let me see. I think that's what, yeah, that's her name, is Creative Gradma. She has a nice YouTube channel with a bunch of crochet instructions, crochet stitches and all that. And she had a blanket that she had a tutorial on how to knit the rectangle granny square. It can be rectangle granny square. She had a tutorial on how to do this blanket that I'm making, which is a rectangle granny square stitch blanket. And she was using one color. I believe she was using one of those Premier cakes. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a variegated yarn, and so she kept going round and round and round, and that is how I was finally able to learn how to do this blanket. And this is how much I have made, and it's easy, and right now I have memorized how to make it, and I'm so happy with it so far. And this blanket is one of my starch bursting projects. It's the first one of the year, and this is the yarn that I am using. And I acquired this yarn a while back from hobbii.com, and this is Cookie. The name of the yarn is Cookie, and it's 100% acrylic let me see, I don't know what weight it is. 100% acrylic. I'll leave, I think it's a 4. I believe it's a 4. But I have two of these. So I have 2 cakes, these 2 cakes. And it's a single ply, so I was a little bit skeptical when I started with it because I haven't really had a lot of good experiences with single plies, because if you try to frog single ply, at least in my experience, it always catches. And so I was like a little bit skeptical, but this one is working so well, and it's really, really soft, and it's a little bit fuzzy. And I only have these 2 cakes, and there's, let me see how much it has. It's a 200 grams cake, and it's 640 meters, which I believe is maybe 400, and I don't know how much yardage this is, but I'll put that in the description down below. But the reason why I wanted this blanket was because I'll stop when I run out of yarn. So I don't know how big it's going to be, but it's gonna be as big as these 2 cakes. So because I'm not buying any more yarn, I'm not adding to these. So once I'm done, once the yarn is over, the blanket will be finished. Like, I'll be done with the blanket. So I don't know how big it's gonna be. I'm just gonna keep on working on it. I don't even know who I am crocheting it for, but I'm sure that I'll find someone. Someone will like it, and I can gift it to them. So far, so good, and I'm enjoying this. And this yarn recommends a crochet hook size that I did not have, even though I have a bunch of crochet hooks. And so it's actually not, that's not really true. It recommends a 4.5 to 5 millimeters. So I am using a 5. And I was trying to look for like a 4.5, but I only found a 4.25. And so I decided I was gonna go with this, and it's working really well. I like the texture, and I like how the stitch is looking. So far so good. So this will be my sometimes work in progress. So I might take it with me to work, to knit during my lunch hour, I don't know, to crochet. You know, like whenever I'm talking about knitting and crochet, sometimes I get them all mixed up. So what I meant is I'll be taking it with me to work, to crochet on it. And I think it's because I knit a lot, or my brain is just thinking knitting more than crochet. And so I tend to say knitting even when I mean crochet. So that is what I have, and that is how much progress I have made. And I don't know whether this yarn has a color name. Sometimes it's so hard to read these labels from Hobbii, because like this one, the writing is so small. I think it doesn't have a color name on it, but I think online it might have a color name. But right now it just says 46215. I guess it's the color and the lot number 5, but I don't know if that's the color. So far so good. I am happy with this yarn, and I am happy to finally be able to use something that has been sitting a while in my stash. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that your year started well, and I hope that all your knitting and crochet plans will go well. And I hope that whatever you're working on, you are having a wonderful time. So until next time, happy knitting!